All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. It's your favorite time of the week, except this week I'm doing it on a different day, but always the one thing that remains the same is it's your favorite podcast, Keeping It Rio. We're back today with episode 232, and I think today's is going to be absolutely amazing because our guests today are doing something that's going to change our industry, that's going to help build confidence in homeowners and promote quality in the roofing world as well as other home service areas. So without any hesitation whatsoever, let me proudly welcome to the show John and Randy from the Good Contractors List. Gentlemen, how you guys doing today?
Great, man. Thank you for having us on.
Absolutely. It's an honor. I've wanted to have Randy on the show for quite some time, and we ran into each other at Win the Storm and were able to make it happen. And my company got onto the Good Contractors List last week. So this is definitely a program that I believe in 100%. And I think we're going to have a great day today. So thank you guys for your time. We'll just kick it off by, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what we're doing, and we'll just kind of run with it from there. I've got all kinds of questions in my head, but start off with the general framework of the Good Contractors List, and we'll just take it from there. What do you say?
Sure. I started this back in 2011. I'd been working for Yellow Pages for many years, and so back in 2005, I ran into, I was going out selling ads. And when I'd go out, I would meet with contractors whose ads were big and they were all, up front, and they said they could be trusted and they could say anything about themselves in the Yellow Pages. And so I went out to meet with one of them one time, and there was a meeting going on in the background, and I could hear it was some company that had, like an air conditioning company. I can't remember exactly which company it was, but they were cheering each other on, and I started listening to what they were saying. And some of the things they were saying was like how they took something that was really a very small problem and made it big and got a real big sale out of it. And it was, a little elderly lady, that was on income, and they had upsold them and I started thinking, I was like, there's really nobody holding these contractors accountable. They can say whatever they want. And so even back then in 2005, I was like, there's got to be something that can be done to help homeowners find contractors. And so in 2000, really just shortly after I had a heart attack, it's been quite the miracle. I realized that I'm the guy that's supposed to do this. And so we created a platform where we guaranteed the work of the contractors on our list, and everybody was held accountable. And so all the contractors held each other accountable. They were really strong about, if this guy's on that list, I don't want to be there. And there was all this kind of stuff going on because some of the bigger guys are the guys that were, most known in their industry as being kind of crooked. And, roofing, for example, you could probably list 100 people that you've heard of in short amount of time that you've been, or whatever, how long you've been doing it, that have done things wrong, And so I found it really cool that not only were we guaranteeing it, but they were so proud to be on the list that they were making sure that the guys that we had on there were doing what they were supposed to, so we call that a collective authority. But yeah, that's what we did. So we've been, since 2011, have been guaranteeing the work of contractors from every field of service, and it's worked out great. It's been doing great here in DFW.
Yep, what an amazing concept, put together something that a homeowner can feel confident that they're working with a quality company, that they're not going to get taken advantage of. I love the fact that it's 2025 and you've been doing this for several years. But the reality of the matter is, I just heard about the Good Contractors List a couple weeks ago. So tell me a little bit about how you guys have developed this, kind of not so much in the background, but maybe perfected your system before deciding to, take it out into further markets and expand into the world.
Well, I'll just say this, and then I'm going to hand it over to Randy because he is the guy. Let me tell you, I've been doing this. It was a very small team. We only had a handful of people that worked we had someone who was handling calls and checking up on homeowners, and we had our admin. We had one sales rep that was out in the field. We weren't really in a place where I felt like we could really grow. But just over this last year, everything started falling into place. People started reaching out to me I never tried to sell it. I never tried to make it any bigger. I just knew that when it was time, there would be people And that's exactly what happened. And Randy's been talking to me about this for 5 years. John, you need to go national. You need to make this bigger. And I'm like, I don't know how. And he was like, I'll help you. And so we ended up this year attaining three, counting Randy, guys that are just phenomenal at building the structure to support things. And so while I knew that this idea was something that could be national, that really had the heart to change the industry if we had the right people, now we have the right people. Randy, you can kind of tell him what we're doing now to build the structure out if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So that kind of jumps in where I come in on the Good Contractors List. I've been a contractor on the Good Contractors List since 2019. And almost immediately when we got on, our sales team, along with myself, who was also in the field at the time, we recognized the difference in the cadence when we were talking to customers about, of course, everybody's going to always say everything that's great about themselves, right? You know, I've got this many 5-star reviews, I'm this platinum, this and all that. But they forget to realize that anybody that customer is talking to is doing the exact same thing. They're talking up all the best points about their company. They're not, you know, there's never been a roofer that said, well, I'm a mediocre roofer and I'll answer my phone most of the time. You know, it's always a good thing about them. But we noticed that when we would talk about this third party guarantee being on the Good Contractors List, which in the DFW market is heavily marketed so that homeowners know where to go when they need to hire a contractor. When we would mention that, the whole conversation shifted to, really, that's interesting. So somebody else is backing your work. Yes, yeah. So everything that I just said about myself, they're guaranteeing as well. Well, we started winning jobs left and right because we felt like it was because that tide shift. Now, if you are somebody that lives in the Hood County, Texas area, DT Roofing is not a new company to you. However, I think the biggest mistake that most companies, forget roofing, all companies make, is they become legends in their own minds and they think that everybody knows their company. And so we'd have customers even in our own county that, you know, would call us out and they just found us on Google. We happened to be, you know, at a good rating and what have you. But they really didn't know us from Adam. We have other markets that we are trying, you know, we were trying to break into. They didn't know what a DT roofing was. But we would use this as a sales tool to remind them that, listen, I know you may not know who we are, and I know we've said all these things, but somebody else is backing our work. When you go to the Better Business Bureau, we have an A+ rating, but if I walked off a job halfway through it and didn't finish it, what's the Better Business Bureau going to do for the homeowner? They're going to lower my grade to an A and maybe put a bad review up. They're not going to put their money where their mouth is. And so with the Good Contractors List, I saw early on the benefits, not only for my business and now my business is, because I have several companies on the list, but I saw the benefit of taking it nationwide. And the reason why you're just now hearing about it recently after 15 years in business, Chuck, is because it was only a DFW focused solution. And so in the DFW market, tens of thousands of homeowners know every time they need a plumber, electrician, a flooring, a landscaper, or a tree trimmer, you know, anything that either services a house or builds a house, they can go to the list, look up that category, go to their zip code, and boom, they're going to get a list of good contractors that have already been pre-vetted by us so that they know it doesn't matter they can cover their eyes and just select, and they're going to find somebody that has the integrity to do the job correctly. And if they don't, that's where we come in and we back it. And so it wasn't until recently when John approached me and said, hey, listen, we'd really love the opportunity to work together with you. We've seen what you've done with DT companies locally. You've been a great customer of ours. We know you're a huge proponent of this. You've been trying to talk me into going nationwide for years. Man, why don't you come on board and let's run the charge. And so it's been 4 weeks now since we launched the nationwide campaign, and we're already in 16 new states. You know, a lot of those are roofing companies because, you know, the first thing I did was post to my socials like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm at. And this is why you need to. And that's really helped us. But it's really starting to, you know, we've hired new field reps for DFW. We're hiring national account managers to take the rest of the nation. And this is a movement. This is a movement. Our
Yeah.
goal is to displace those companies who just sell leads to contractors blindly and sending people out to customers' homes without the customer getting the chance to really vet those contractors. With our system, a customer can go to the goodcontractorslist.com. They can put in their zip code, they can put in their trade type, and then look and go through each of the profiles of the contractors that are recommended, click on their actual website, go to their website, and kind of say, okay, well, I already know I'm going to get a guarantee on it. So now it's a popularity contest, if you will, like who fits me best. And that's how it should be, right? I'd much rather at DT Roofing compete against other good guys, knowing that the reality is there's very few of those compared to the masses, when you're separating the wheat from the chaff. I'd much rather lose knowing that that customer chose somebody else that was going to treat them right. Because, in my market, there's probably 300,000 customers. I can't serve all of them. I did 1,500 roofs last year as a roofing contractor. I can't serve them all. So knowing that there are other contractors, even in my space, that can and will treat these customers right, it fixes a problem that is systemic in the contracting world, which is customers are tired of being screwed by contractors. Simple as that. And the good guys don't have a voice, because what happens, you turn on the news and there's a headline of some contractor with his, picture at the jail, and he did this, he did that. And it gives a black eye to the rest of the industries that are out there wanting to serve customers well. Well, this is a location where customers can go and find those guys.
Yeah, and we just lost John. I don't know.
Yeah,
his
I
picture
know
is
he was
no
having
longer
some
with
internet.
us, but
Yeah,
he's
he's
still here in spirit. So
yeah,
I think that you coming on board with this program was absolutely essential, and it was huge because you're one of the most respected guys in my industry. I've been in roofing for 27 years, and you follow the people along, and you can see who's the good guy, who's the guys that's are known for taking shortcuts, for doing things wrong for the homeowners and so on. And I think when people see, hey, Randy's on this must be a pretty reasonable thing. And that's what brought me to the dance, quite frankly. We signed up for this program last week and we got approved through the process. I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about this vetting process, because again, like you say, it's like an interview, and nobody ever tells you that they're going to be bad or they're going to be crooks or they're going to take advantage of people when they're being interviewed for a position.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about this process as it is to apply for the program. Some of the things that you guys look at when you, let me get John back in here real quick. There we go. Look at that. I made you guys kind of do a little.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. I got a call and I got switched off. Yeah.
No worries. So we were just talking a little bit about the process for applying to be in the program. We went through it. Myself and my two partners went through the entire process. We were accepted because obviously we've done things the right way. We've got good reviews. We've got a good reputation. But tell us a little bit about what a contractor would need to do in order to qualify to get themselves involved.
Sure. And when most contractors hear the requirements, they say, that's it. And the reality is it's scientific in what we're doing, but it's what's sad is there are many contractors that just can't fit these requirements. In the roofing industry, the Small Business Administration states that 96% of roofing companies fail within the first 5 years. And there's a big reason for that. And so one of our requirements is you have to be in business for at least 3 years. You have to be, because we feel like during that time and in our experience, most entrepreneurs have paid that education tax on business, right? They've figured out how to handle their bookkeeping, making sure that their P&Ls are right, how to pay contractors, how to pay distributors. And they've built a pretty good book of business at that point where they know how to serve customers well. Another variable is they have to have a good online reputation. If you're coming to us and you have a 3.5 rating, that's a concern to us, because that could be for multiple reasons. That could be because you have too few reviews. And so, you have 7 reviews and one of them gave you a 1 star, but the rest gave you 5. Well, the problem there is you need to get more reviews. You need to have more people telling the world how it is to work with you. Or you have a lot of reviews, but a lot of them are bad. And we just cannot authorize that on our list. You got to figure out a way to serve your customers well. And then, something as basic as having a professional looking website that homeowners can navigate. It explains what you do. It explains the services that you provide. It explains a little bit about us, giving the consumer, a chance to learn a little bit about you before they even reach out is very important. And then the final that can't be vetted ahead of time until we do it is a background check. That background check is not only a criminal background check. And look, if you did something stupid at 17 years old and we're not worried about, I use the example, if you got caught with weed when you were 17 years old and made a stupid mistake, we're not looking for that. That doesn't mean anything to a 37-year-old who's now a successful entrepreneur. I did a lot of stupid things when I was a kid. What we're looking for is, acts of violence. We're looking for any sexual type crime. At the end of the day, I want to be able to send every single contractor on the list into my grandmother's house and know that everything's going to be fine, right? And then from a financial standpoint, we're looking for things like, is this somebody who starts up businesses, runs them into the ground, into a flaming heap, taking customers with them, and then starts up a new business and does it all over again, right? We're not looking at your finances from a standpoint of how much money you have in your bank accounts, but we are looking to make sure that you are a responsible contractor so that if the inevitable happens, and I say inevitable, I remember years ago, I had a customer who signed a contract with me. We chose teak as the color of the roof he was going to put on. It was the most similar to what he had up there at the time. About 2 weeks prior to the roof going to go on, the customer called me while I'm driving in my truck, of course, in a vulnerable position where I don't have the ability to take notes. And he says, "Randy, it turns out my wife wants black." Okay. Yeah, she's going to change the color of the house at some point. She wants a color that's neutral. Now, okay, that makes complete sense. Black it is. Well, guess what? We're halfway through that roof the day of the install, and I get a call from a customer. "Hey, Randy. Hey, how you doing?" "Yep. Well, we were supposed to go with black." Oh my gosh, I completely forgot to change the order from teak to black. But you know what we did? We immediately stopped our crew. They started tearing off the teak. They ripped off all the felt because it now had nails in it. They refelted it, dried it in, and the time they had it back dried in, we had material back out the job, and we were able to do that roof correctly. And it was because we were running our business like a business. We weren't running it like a hobby. We had the ability to make mistakes, lose money on something to make sure that that customer has a great experience with GT Roofing. And you know what? I guarantee that customer told that story a half a dozen to a dozen times to his friends and family about how, yep, I told them and they messed up, but you know what? They were right back and they had that roof on the next day with the right color. And, so those are who we want to work with. We want to work with companies that wake up in the morning and their whole reason for owning a business is to serve well and do their craft well and be profitable and build that business and could serve even more people because of their success. We're not interested in the guy that decided that yesterday it hailed and today I'm a roofer. We've all of us have gotten onto that roof where the customer calls and says, "Hey, I need you to come and take a look at this." And we say, "This roof looks pretty new. Or why don't you just call the company that installed it?" Yeah, they're not answering their phone. We've all dealt with those customers where we're coming in to save the day. So that is the goal of the Good Contractors List. And we've talked a lot about roofing, but we have 49 other trades that we offer that we partner with companies. And so that's how it grows so quickly in any particular area, is that cross-pollination. When one of my guys signs with or with a customer at DT Roofing, they're registering that customer on the Good Contractors List to get that $25,000 guarantee on the job, right? That's the only way that the guarantee is applied. Well, when they're registering that homeowner on the site, they're exposing that customer to the Good Contractors List. If they're doing how we train them, they're also reminding the customer at the time of signing, "Hey, remember, anytime you need any home service, go to the Good Contractors List," because all of those guys are all vetted and they get the same $25,000 guarantee on all of their work that I just gave you on this one. Well, it creates this cross-pollination where the roofer puts in his customers into the system, the plumber puts his customers into the system, the foundation guy does the same. And when those customers need a roof, need plumbing, need electrical, they go to the list. They hire their contractor and there's no risk. And so it's a way better solution than, if you're guaranteeing just maybe a single trade where there's not really any cross-pollination. Yes, it does help in that one job, but it's not going to help the other people on the lists, and so that's how there are other services, as you're aware, in our industry even that offer guarantees, but it's very service level when it comes to comparison because we're handling all 50 trades, and that's what we're taking nationwide.
Yep.
I
And
love that.
I apologize. My internet has been doing some crazy stuff around here. I'm trying to do this on my phone, and even that was kind of kicking out on me here. I back to kind of the process that we were talking about. There's a couple of things that are different as well. We had to early in our career, there was a couple of guys that got on through. We did background checks on them through a company, and and we really didn't get the kind of background stuff back that we needed. And one guy slipped in and ended up taking some money from quite a few people. We went back and made it right, gave them all their money back. There were some that he got started on a project and just disappeared. We finished those projects, so we had to pay a lot up front on a contractor previously. So we invested. I think we spent somewhere around $2,800 a month on FBI level background checks. So somebody can't just come in and say, I've been in business for 20 years, and then we look at it and go, yeah, that thing's been around a year. You did have another company for 19 years, but you ran it into the ground. I mean, sometimes that happens. And so we're able to do that. And we also call back every single homeowner that comes to the list, and calls through our number that's on the website. And so we have in-house people who calls back every homeowner to follow up, because follow up on this is just as important. So
Yes.
we want to hear from our consumers. Are our guys doing good? And we take everything seriously. But if at the same time, there's some crazy people out there. There's some people that no matter what you do isn't going to be happy, or they're going to try to use your review system or whatever it takes to try to manipulate you into giving them something for free. It just happens. So we like to consider ourselves the voice of truth, more than just, hey, we screen contractors so that they're safe, because there's just as unscrupulous homeowners out there. So our contractors, we're partners with them. And when we go out to a home, there's been plenty of times that I personally go out to homes whenever it gets to that level, and there really wasn't a problem at all. It was something that got elevated because the homeowner got mad about something, and the next thing you know, they're nitpicking. And
Oh
by
yeah.
having someone who will actually come out and prove to them, no, it's okay, it de-escalates things. So that's one of the things that I think that we bring to the table that nobody else that I know of has ever done, is not to just be that third party that shells out money if something goes wrong, but we're the voice of truth that goes in there and go, no, I trust this contractor. There's a reason why they're on our list. Let us see if this is exactly what's going on. And I'm telling you, most times it was just a homeowner who got upset, fearful, and started nitpicking things. And when we go out and we talk with them, things get flattened out. I've watched, I don't know how many times I've watched a homeowner and a contractor hug it out after we went in and talked with them and showed them, no, they've done everything right. And they'll apologize to each other for the frustration, because it's frustrating working with contractors, period. It's just never going to be perfect. Sometimes it is, but I mean, it can get frustrating. And so all we have to do as a company is care about the customer and care about our contractor and go, hey, listen, we're all here for one reason, and that's to make sure that you're taken care of. And when they realize, wait, I am being taken care of, this guy was doing what he was supposed to do, the walls come down. And I've just seen it too many times. It's something that's desperately needed in the contracting industry.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. No matter what you do, sometimes, like you said, if there's a problem, it gets out of control way quicker than it should sometimes. And when you're trying to defend yourself, obviously, as a contractor, if someone is accusing me of doing something wrong, I'm going to say, well, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't. And it's basically like you say, he said, she said. You're
Mm-hmm.
never going to really reach a solid resolution. So
Yeah.
having a third party that's qualified, that understands these things, that comes in, I think is absolutely game changing for our industry, for service trades around the world in general.
Yeah.
And I am ecstatic to be a part of this because, we try very hard to be perfect, but nobody is. And we set
Sure.
great expectations on the front end. We tell our clients, hey, we're going to run magnets through your yard, but we're not going to get 100% of the nails. If you get a nail in your tire, understand that it's not because we didn't try, but that conversation gets forgotten when a nail gets put into the tire, and all of a sudden you're the filthy guy that didn't clean up right. And all of a sudden I noticed this drip edge is crooked, and I found
Mhm.
another piece of debris over here in my flower bed, and
Or sometimes
Mhm.
it's
the
just out of
flowers are broken, and you
yeah,
did everything wrong. So
right.
having that
Well,
mediator is a amazing thing.
yeah, because sometimes the customer is, and I don't mean this in a negative, I mean quite literally, they're just ignorant to things. You know, when you have a contractor or a customer that complains, well, look at the side of my chimney, look at all that. Yeah, yes, ma'am, that's called counter flashing, and that's done correctly. That's how it's supposed to hang. It stops water from running down the side of your chimney and right into your attic. Um, but they never look up there until the roof was done. They don't even
Mhm.
remember that being like that before until you show them photos and go, yes, ma'am, that's actually how your flashing was. All we did is either cut in new flashing, or there was nothing wrong with the counter flashing, so we just painted it. It was already like that. That's exactly how it's supposed to look. You know, so sometimes it's just out of ignorance. It's innocent, but you're
Mhm.
right. Contractors, if they're doing a poor job at communicating, that can escalate things quickly, because now they're looking for a
Absolutely.
reason to be right, and so yeah, having a mediator in between to just go, look, I understand where you're coming from. We had just yesterday we had a customer call in, and she was frustrated because her roofer was telling her that she had to hire her own public adjuster, and she said, I talked to other roofing companies and they said that they hire the public adjuster for me and they take care of everything for me, and this company's trying to do this and all that. And so we were able to talk to her and say, ma'am, what that roofer told you was correct. In the state of Texas, if they act as a public adjuster, they break the law. And the public adjuster has a contract with you, the homeowner, not with the contractor. The contractor's just there to do the work. So the other contractors you're talking to, you either misunderstood them or they told you wrong. This guy's right. And so being that voice of reason where they know we don't get anything out of this situation, we're just here to educate. It de-escalates the situation and allows the project to move on. But so we don't have a problem being that voice of reason, and supporting our contractors where the support needs to happen, and when they're wrong, saying, hey, you messed up, you got to fix this.
That's right.
They are right. The contract does say that. And you
Yep.
used Sherwin-Williams number 4262, and 3545 was the number on that estimate. Repaint the house, whatever it takes if you made a mistake. And so yeah, I think the reason why this is being adopted so quickly by contractors outside of Texas is because they realize, like, the only way that they're going to get in front of homeowners and get out of all of the chaff is going to be somewhere they can send customers to. And the way that it happens, like John used the term collective authority earlier, is as contractors are signing on, the first thing we're asking them is, look, and we asked y'all as well, is who do you know that's an electrician? Who do you know that's a HVAC and a plumber and flooring, and people that are other service providers? Send them our way so we can get them on the list, because of that cross pollination. That happens a lot quicker in your area when it doesn't have to happen through osmosis, right? People accidentally hearing about it and then they look into it, and then we get a lead on the site and then we tell them about it and then they jump on. But that happened 3 months ago, and they could have happened like the next day if our contractors would just say, I know some good guys that need to be on this list, realizing that when they do that, they benefit themselves because they're going to get access to their customers by doing that.
That's right. We, here in
Absolutely.
the DFW area, the thing that I wanted to hear the most was from a customer is, I don't use a contractor that isn't on this list. It's the only place that's guaranteed, and we are seeing that in large numbers actually, where homeowners say, I don't even go to anywhere else, and that's what we want. And sometimes we'll hear feedback on Facebook or wherever, and they're the only people that even need a guarantee are the bad guys. Well, when we're risking $25,000 on every job they're doing, we're not looking to get money from the bad guys. We'll lose more than we could ever gain from those guys. We keep our rate very low and manageable for the contractor, so they're not having to take it out on the homeowner. And so, but we're providing something that's of super high value. And if we keep it that way, it keeps us honest. obviously we can't, if we're trying to just make money off of every contractor that comes on this list, we're going to end up in really bad shape because we're really only as strong as the weakest link in this organization. So if we do slide out and go, you know what, let's go ahead and let these guys that's only been in business 6 months, that's never ran a business before, let's go ahead and back them too. If we slide off of what our standards been and we let a lot of riffraff in, it's not going to benefit us in one little bit. I mean, we're out there on the TV, radio, and on podcasts like this saying we guarantee the work of all of our contractors. What sense does it make to have contractors we couldn't trust?
Right.
And so that's we hold ourselves accountable, and so that's one of the strongest points is we have actually separated the good guys from the bad guys here, and we take responsibility for the work. So there should be no question. You should hire from here. It's absolutely free to a homeowner.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. I think I'll save that for just a second, and I want to I always like to see things from both sides of the story. Let's just assume that I'm a homeowner and I hire a company that I found off the Good Contractors List. I'm not going to use my own name for this story because it's not favorable for the contractor, but
Okay.
let's say that, we hire a company, they come out and there is some sort of an issue. And all of a sudden, the homeowner is kind of like, well, oh my gosh, I've been taken advantage of. They immediately go on the offensive. They start having problems. What is the process that a homeowner would go through that's been, included into the system? They've been added in by the contractor who, again, why would a contractor put you into the system if they're going to do something wrong? But we're not perfect. And sometimes there are legitimate things that go wrong, and
Sure.
mediation of some sort would be necessary to kind of help solve the problem. What would the process look like for a homeowner? Let's say we put a roof on and there is a massive discoloration in the center of the roof. They got a black roof and it's just dark black in the middle and it's kind of lighter on the sides. They're completely, horrified by it. They hate it. The contractors stopped answering the phone because they're saying, well, whatever, it'll rain off and it'll wash off or whatever. But the homeowner's genuinely concerned. What did they need to do? How easy is it for a homeowner to go through the process and then get that security that they so valuably need?
Yeah. So
Well, it's
that's a
super
great.
easy, really. Oh, sorry. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Well, go ahead.
So and this actually speaks to obviously the industry that we're in. I think your answer was in your question when in your premise you said, and they stop answering the phone. That's a problem for us because at the end of the day, you're right. You as the contractor, you don't control the quality of the shingles, the processes. If the distributor was double stacking his pallets and caused those to oil and what have you. But as soon as you put that product on that house, you own the end results of that. And there are methods, as you know, to go back to distribution, go back to the manufacturer and say, hey, what is going on with your product? But the very first thing you do is you sympathize with your homeowner. You say, ma'am, you're absolutely right. That is not to our standard at all. But as you can imagine, we don't make CertainTeed's product or GAF's products or Owens Corning's products. So we're going to engage first our distributor, and then we're going to go ahead and get the manufacturer involved, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. And that's what the customer wants to hear. And if they don't hear that, then in your scenario, they would call us and they're going to engage us and say, listen, here's the situation. Look at my roof. Look at these pictures. Do you think that's good quality? Our answer is naturally going to be, no, it isn't. What's the background behind it? They're going to give us the story. The first thing we're going to do is reach out to the contractor. Hey, what's going on? Mrs. Smith contacted us. She's showing us, yeah, we told her that it would off gas after 3 months and it won't look like that anymore. Okay, well, that's not good customer service. You don't just get to walk away. You've collected the money and now the roof looks like crap and you get to just walk away from it. There's a proper way to approach this, and you need to handle it the right way because you're a good contractor and you're representing us as well. So, and then we work with the contractor if they're willing to go through those steps and get the manufacturer involved and what have you. If the contractor says, look, I've already told the homeowner that I'm not doing anything about it. It's not our problem. We didn't make the shingle. We put the shingle up there. then there's going to be obviously a serious conversation that John needs to have with them. We do still, anybody that needs to be removed from the list and or has any issues, they still go to Dad ultimately, and Dad deals with it, and so. Um, uh, and then if we cannot get resolution in place, then we take responsibility for it. We call another roofing, in this example, roofing contractor in our list, tell them the situation, and we give them the contract and say, fulfill this contract. And they'll rip the entire roof off and put a new roof on based on the contract. Customers taken care of. They still have comfort in the list. That contractor's off the list because they clearly didn't want to do the right thing, which is to address the problem that ultimately they are responsible for, even if it is something that they need to engage outside of them. And that's exactly the process that I have done probably 3 or 4 times in the last 4 years, where I had a situation. There was everybody that uses Owens Corning knows that their class 4 product had some issues during manufacturing where the sure nail strip or whatever it was, it got put on too tight and it caused them to all buckle. And we had some buckling roofs that were coming through. You know what? First thing we did, ma'am, I agree with you. And of course you get this like, you do?
Yeah,
Because
right.
they're expecting a contractor to go, oh, I don't know. I mean, we put the product up there. What do you want us to do about it? We're like, oh, yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't want that on my house like that. I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and get our Owens Corning rep involved and we'll get this addressed. Oh, okay. Thank you. That's awesome. And that's exactly what we did.
And I
And
can tell you,
yeah,
for the many years, we've been doing this now, 14 years handling these types of complaints. 99% of the things that are problems can be fixed by email and phone. Just knowing there's a third party there that they
yep.
can complain to, and our job is to go. You know what? I'm going to get with the contractor. They're going to come out. We didn't put them on our list because they're bad. They're good contractors, and
Yes.
they'll make this right if you'll let them get to the end of this job.
And
If
that's a
there's an
huge
issue at
point
the
too.
end,
That's a huge point that John just made is we're not here to disparage our contractor either. We chose them. So we're there to say this isn't who you're talking about isn't the guy that we know, the company we know that we vetted. So
yep.
let's unpack this a little bit more and see if we can get to the true problem here.
Mhm.
Because sometimes it'll be like, he hasn't contacted me in 3 weeks. Well, ma'am, I'm looking at his cell phone and he has several missed calls and multiple texts asking you to give him a call back. You haven't been responding. Oh my gosh, that's my husband's number. I am so sorry. I thought that he had my number. And it's something stupid like that. It's like, okay,
Yep.
great. You good? You good? All right, kiss and make up. Let's go. So,
Hmm.
we are there for, as John said earlier, truth. At the end of the
Hmm.
day, it's don't assign what is the old adage? Don't assign malice where ignorance can prevail. It's like sometimes people just it's a human error. The guy didn't do it on purpose. You got to give him a chance to make this right. And if you're like, I don't want him back at my house. Okay, well then this is not a claim for the good contractors list, because the way we do things is we allow our good contractors to do the right thing and
Yep.
fix the problem. And if you're not allowed to fix their problem, then you have no claim with us.
Yeah, we
And
have
so,
a proven process. I mean, the
yes.
process that we use is very simple. Let's let the contractor get to the end of the work. Give them the opportunity. But people have fear, and so it's they don't really understand. And a lot of times we don't get brought in until it is escalated to the point that there's zero trust. And so we have to come in now, de-escalate the situation, rebuild trust for the contractor to get finished. Now, if a contractor, just to let you know this, if a contractor sees these red flags happening, get us involved. You can get us involved. It doesn't have to wait till the homeowner's so mad that they're trying to call us. Get us involved. Say, hey, listen, remember, I'm part of the Good Contractors List, and it looks like there's some mistrust going on here. I would love to bring in the rep from the Good Contractors List to help mediate this problem so that we can get to the end of this. Because my goal for you, ma'am, is to get this job done and done right. And I want you to walk away so proud of this job that you're bragging to your friends about it. I definitely don't want this to be something that you're so angry about that you're, out having to write bad reviews. It's not what we're do here. And so you just
No.
reaffirm them that there is this other person you can talk to. It may de-escalate right then and go, okay, no, I get it. I got burned once, and I just saw this happening. And so that's what we hear a lot of times. I'd say 99% of the stuff that comes into us, can be handled by phone and by email. And the ones that we actually have to go out to, we find out what the truth is. I've walked in many times with contractors and I said, this is your best work. And they were like trusting that their crew was telling them exactly what was happening. And the stuff that they were relaying back weren't true. And so they find out, oh man, I need a new project manager. So sorry, ma'am. Yes, this isn't our quality, you know?
Yes.
And as soon as we rebuild that trust, they take that crew out, they put somebody else back in there. We get to the end of the job and everybody's happy. And just to give you an idea, in 14 years of being on radio and TV, blaring out, we have a $25,000 guarantee. You can trust our guys. We've spent out of pocket $127,000 in 14 years. That's
And
billions of dollars of work,
what
billions
over
covered
5
by this
billion,
guarantee. Yeah,
over 5 billion.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I think that speaks volumes for what we're
What
doing.
what it speaks is that we're choosing the right contractors
yeah, for sure.
ultimately. You know, the
Yep.
people like Rio Blanco and others that are the right guys. They're going to do the job right. They just need that extra sales tool, that extra, to put the customer right over the edge to say everything you think about us is accurate, and they're saying so too, and they're willing to put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
Boom, problem solved. We're doing the project.
And the
And
ease of it is the homeowner just needs to contact us. That's it. Either the homeowner or the contractor contacts us. We're involved. We want to make sure this thing ends up right. So
right.
yeah. So it's very easy. The process is so simple.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's going to be a total game changer. I'm so proud to be a part of it on the early stages as you guys expand. Let's talk a little bit about this plan for expansion. Like you say, this is years in the making.
Hmm.
You get a guy like Randy who comes in who brings instant credibility to the program with
Yeah.
all the people in the trades. I mean, I've never heard a single negative word about this man in my entire career. I've been in roofing 27 years and we run in the same circles. So you know the people that are high quality, you know that these
Mhm.
guys are going to say, hey, this is a good contractor I think we should bring in. This is someone that we might stay away from. Even if they pass all the background checks and all that stuff, maybe the character isn't exactly what we're looking to promote for our brand and our company.
Mhm.
As you guys continue to scale this and move from a DFW market, which is absolutely huge, but in comparison to the entire country, it's a spot on the map. So
Yeah.
what does this look like as you guys continue to scale to maintain the quality, to maintain putting the right people in the right places? Because obviously now it's going to be, much, much larger. Many thousands more people are going to try to get in.
Mhm.
How does this look for you guys as far as the scaling process? And what's it look like? Is this something that you want to roll out in the next year, 3 years, 5 years? What's the growth plan look like moving forward?
So
Can I say something
realistically,
real quick? Can I say something real quick about Randy? I know Randy is absolutely he's great at sales. He's got a powerful background. But what I love about what we're building here is that we have emotional intelligence. That's one of the things that I love most about what Randy stands for. He's a gung ho guy that is he has his sights set on the right things, but he has emotional intelligence. And with that emotional intelligence, we know that the contractors that we bring on here, we want them to be partners and to have someone who likes to build community. And that's really what Randy does. He doesn't care if your company makes more money or his company makes more money. He is in it for the industry. And that's what I've loved about it, is because he has the emotional intelligence to pick guys who see the vision. And like he said, he was the first one to mention it. I've always wanted it to be a movement. Randy sees this as a movement. We're going to start protecting homeowners to higher scales. We're going to get contractors who go, man, I want to up my game so I can get on the good contractors list. And we will be able to change an industry that way. But
no question.
I had to give Randy some kudos, because I'm telling you, it's not just his ability to bring people on and sell this product. It is about
Well,
creating a movement that's going to make a change in this industry and protect homeowners and be something that truly people can trust, and they're not going, oh, this is just some gimmick. But anyway, thank you, Randy, I just had to give you those kudos before you start talking.
Well deserved. Well
I,
deserved.
you guys are making me blush, and I appreciate that. But I give God all the glory for any talents that I have.
I know
To
that
answer your
too.
question, though, Chuck, is the way that we scale this, and one of the benefits of it being a product that was solely focused on DFW for 15 years is we've made all the mistakes. We've figured out, I like, it's akin to, we have built a car that now is sold all over DFW. We've worked out all the kinks. It gets great mileage. It brakes well. It looks great. Now we take that blueprint and we replicate it across the nation. We're not a startup where we're trying to figure this thing out. We already know what works and what doesn't work, and we stick to that plan as we go into new areas. As we expand into an area, the more contractors we get, the more marketing dollars we push into that particular market. We started blowing up San Antonio pretty quickly. You're already seeing ads in your social media in San Antonio of us putting money into that market. As contractors trust us and adopt early as ambassadors of this solution, they're also benefiting from the fact that they're the first ones in their area on their zips, that they're going in and they're owning the honey holes of their zips, so that when this program explodes around them and all of those other contractors from other trades start to jump on the list, they're already in the prime position when the homeowners start hitting the website in their area to find contractors. And so it's those early adopters, those founders, if you will, that are going to be in the key position to take advantage of what the DFW contractors are already getting, which is leads. Last year, I got almost $200,000 worth of leads from the Good Contractors List. And that's a small number compared to, out of the $30 million in revenue that we did on residential, the number of customers that chose to do business with us because we had the guarantee backing their project. If I was being conservative, I would say it's probably 10%. But I'm a homeowner. And if I have a guy in front of me telling me, choose me, and somebody else guarantees my job's going to happen, I'm risk adverse. I'm choosing that guy because everything with the other two looked about the same, but this guy has somebody backing him. That's who I'm choosing. And so if I say 10% of my customers chose because we were on the list, that's $3 million. I can care less about that 200,000 in leads that I got, but I still get leads too, because when you hit critical mass with this, customers start going to the site to get their contractors, and that's where you're going to be found. And that's where, so we don't call ourselves a lead generation program. We're not competing in the same fashion as the Home Advisors or the Angies out there. If we have a customer who's buying leads from Angies or Home Advisor, they can use our guarantee to close those leads.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be the biggest thing. And I am beyond excited because we were the second company in San Antonio to be on there.
You were.
I have a ton of confidence and faith in the other guy, Stonehouse Roofers. I'll say it on my podcast.
Yeah.
Those guys are outstanding. I know Carl. He's a man of honor. He's very, positive. I've never heard a bad thing about him. I've sat down and had lunch with him before. We've talked many times, and I don't view it as competition. I think what we're going to do is we're going to put a group of people together that's going to provide something that's going to flush out the bad. And we all know there are a lot of bad in the world, and a lot of people are looking to get rich quick, and it's in and out and so on and so forth. And I think putting this together is going to be an absolute game changer for the entire service industry as a whole,
Yes.
Plumbing, electricians, HVACs, whatever.
Yes.
And the better we can be to vet that and bring in the people that we know are going to, maintain that high standard, it's just going to be a benefit for everybody involved.
And you look at it this perspective too. If you're a manufacturer out there and you're watching this on a podcast, whether it's Keeping It Real or any other podcast, and you're hearing this messaging, you want your contractors on the Good Contractors List, because the more they win, the more you win. Yep. So if you know those good guys that are doing it right and
pays their bills,
a provider, they pay their bills and everything. You want them on the list, because when they're winning projects, I'm not going to say, obviously, and I would never say that the year we signed up, we were a $9 million company, and 6 short years later, we're a $30 million company. I'm not going to give all the credit to being able to give this guarantee, but it was a wise decision for us and a great sales tool for my 14 sales guys to be able to every single customer. They don't just use it at the closing. They use it when they're meet the customer for the first time. Yes, ma'am, I'm about to get up on your roof. And there's a couple of things that they say. I'm about to get up on your roof, and regardless of what I find, you will get a report. just know that the company you chose is part of the Good Contractors List, which means if there is work to be done on this house, we are backed with a $25,000 guarantee. Let me go ahead and get up there. I'll knock on the door when I'm done. We're already seeding the customer ahead of time, saying, you don't have to get 2 other bids. You've already found the right guy.
Right.
And
But
then when we
like
get
what
up
you were,
there, yeah.
But like what you were saying earlier about that confidence and your competitor right there in your own market, where else could you ever go where you'd say, you know what, if Mrs. Jones, if you don't do business with me, please use
Use the
somebody on this
list.
list.
Yes.
It's the way that and our contractors are doing that,
Yeah.
and it just seals the deal usually for the homeowner because they're like, wow, this guy's really willing to let somebody else take it. Like he's telling me to go here. That typically is just that getting past that trust factor. And one of the things that I just recently, I've been talking about a backed by a $25,000 guarantee for 14 years now. Next year will be 15 years we've been talking about this. And for the first time, I was explaining it to somebody the other day, and it just the bell came on. I was actually talking to a contractor. He goes, John, I've been talking about this $25,000 guarantee for now. He'd been on the list for over 10 years. We've got about a quarter of our contractors have been with us for over 10 years. That says something. And so he goes, I've been telling everybody about this. I never saw it that way. And I explained it this way, is that since contracting began, the only option that a homeowner has is a two-way agreement. And every horror story you've ever heard started with a two-way agreement. And why is that? It's because in the end, it really is just your word against theirs. And for the first time ever, there is a third party taking financial responsibility for the contractors. And when you look at it that way, it's not just the $25,000 guarantee, and they're like, oh, well, they probably have guarantees too. It's no, there's a third party involved that is responsible for my finished product. So if you don't find quality here, you have somebody else you can talk to. But they trust me that much to bring me onto their list because you'll never have that problem with us. But isn't it nice to know that you have somebody else to talk to? No other contractor that sits down in front of them will look the same to that homeowner. They'll be sitting there going, do you have a third party, or is this just me and you?
And,
you
and
know?
another thing that I'd like to add too is we're not content with the service being from the homeowner standpoint. It will continue the same way, but part of my initiative coming on board is not only to get more contractors on the list, but to bring more value through the service with contractors. And so we're in the process of building a contractor portal where if you're a member of the Good Contractors List, doesn't cost you a penny. It's just part of being a member. There's going to be a contractor portal that you can log into, and we're actually working through the design stages right now, where you'll be able to not only log in and register your jobs there to be able to make sure your customers, because we don't charge you anything for those registered jobs. It's just a place to register your customers' jobs. But you'll also have key resources, a resource area where, let's say, you're a plumber out of Minnesota and you need marketing. Well, we've already pre-vetted, much like we pre-vet our contractors, we've already pre-vetted several different types of companies that fit that bill that we know do a great job, and they've already guaranteed a particular discount or what have you for good contractors on the list. Maybe you need financing. We're going to have Chris Scoville on there with Improvify on there, to be able to find all of the contractors on our list so that they can sell more jobs and sell upgrades. So business coaches like Jim Johnson, we're going to have people on and services on there that business owners can go to and go, this is an area I suck at. I need a resource. Great. They've already pre-vetted this guy, and then, or guys, maybe there's going to be CRMs on there. And I'm just talking about the roofing world. There's going to be things that are relevant to every cross, are cross beneficial. And that way, as a contractor, I know this company really does care about my success. Not just that I win every job, but that as I grow, because I'm winning, that I have the resources to grow with it. People like Brad Akers, who's going to be able to help you, expand, bring more leads, warm leads in-house instead of just relying on only marketing. So we're partnering with a lot of the right people to bring these services to our contractors so that they can continue to grow their companies and succeed.
Yeah, I love that. And I'll say this to anybody that's watching that doesn't understand or recognize the names that Randy just mentioned. I've been in roofing for 27 years. I know each of these people very well personally. I've played golf with Jim Johnson. I've gone to football games with him. I've had Chris Scoville on the podcast multiple times. I've sat down and eaten dinner with them. These are all incredibly reputable people in our industry that are here to help, that have their hearts in the right place, that are doing things the right way and continue to build. And I can't say enough how important it is to me to be a part of this network, this group. I think it's a complete game changer for my business. It is, an absolute honor to be a part of it. So we're coming up on the hour. This has been a pretty quick conversation. I got a couple of things I'd still like to ask if it's all right. Number one, any of the people that are watching this, I get a lot of homeowners. I get a lot of contractors, random people. This is not a roofing specific podcast. I send a lot of these clips out to my homeowners to, kind of illustrate the type of person I am. But let's say that someone's watching this right now and they've got a need for something to, be done at their home. And they say, you know what, this sounds like a great idea. I want to work with this company. Or a contractor that's watching that says, I need to be a part of this growth. I want to see this thing develop into a national phenomenon because I see that it's very valuable for what we're doing. What are the best ways for people to find the Good Contractors List, to get connected with the right people that they need to be connected with, to become involved either as a consumer or as a contractor that's going to go out and represent your brand?
Great question. So from a homeowner standpoint, if you're a homeowner and you are not in an established market like DFW for us, the best thing you can do is send the contractors that you use already, that you trust, your family, friends that are, fit the bill of everything that we've described, send them to the Good Contractors List so that they can get onboarded with us. Because the more contractors that we have on the list, the more of services are going to be available in your area, and that way you'll be able to go to roofing and then your zip code and you'll see, all of the companies in that category. That only happens when more and more people know about it. Obviously, we're going to do marketing, but marketing can go so far. Everybody will tell you that word of mouth is the best marketing. And so if you are a contractor who says everything that they just described, I am that company, I am like a Rio Blanco, and I've been in business for a long time, I have all the reviews, I passed the background check, I guarantee I will. Go to the Good Contractors List and get on the list. Become a contractor, and we'll give you a shout. We'll take you through the requirements, tell you exactly how everything works, and we'll get you on the list so that you can be a founder in your area. This is a great time for contractors who understand this concept to get. I can tell you right now, I have one contractor that is in California right now. Eric Richardson. Everybody knows Eric. Roofing with San Diego.
Yep. Oh yeah, Eric's my man.
He's going through the process right now, and he'll be on the list. I don't have anybody in New York. This is how new this is for the nation, guys. I've said 16, 17 states have come on, but there's a whole nation that we need to. So if you see the benefit of this, as a contractor, you'll be able to immediately start using this as a sales tool to close more deals. But then get all of those guys that you work with. I know as a roofer, I don't do electrical. I don't do HVAC. I don't do, plumbing. I don't do anything. But I know all the right guys. So the first thing I did was I started telling the guys in those industries, hey, you need to be here because I'm getting opportunity here. I'm selling jobs left and right, and then getting them on board, because I also realized that by them feeding their customers into the system, those customers are going to be exposed to me in the future when they need a roof. So it is that collective authority John talks about that will grow this nationwide quickly. I expect between a 3 to 5 year period, the Good Contractors List will be a household name. People won't even think about why they would even go to Google and play contractor roulette when they can just go to the list and find their contractor and know that every single job is backed by a $25,000 guarantee.
Yep. I love that so much. And I'm betting on it. I'm banking on it 100%. When we discussed it at Win the Storm, I looked at Chris, my partner, and I said, dude, this is something that we need to be a part of. It really is a
no-brainer. If you fit our build, it's a no-brainer.
I love it. Well, let me tell you guys this. I appreciate you taking the time to be here today. It's an absolute honor to be a part of the program. As a founding member here in San Antonio, I'm going to do everything I can to help promote and bring on as many quality people as I can. I do have a tremendous network just because I'm old and I've been around for a long time, but I want to see this grow, and I want to make sure that we can help as many homeowners to eliminate that hesitation or that fear that they have. I think that's the number one thing that we run across when we go into people's homes is, who do I trust? Even if you look like you're a trustworthy guy, again, nobody's wearing a giant sign that says I'm a crook on their shirt, and being able to provide that peace of mind is absolutely amazing. So thank you guys for that.
You bet.
Before I say goodbye to our audience, is there any final words you guys would like to conclude the podcast episode with today?
Well, I do want to just reiterate for the homeowners, because homeowners have played a big part in us finding good contractors here in DFW. They see what we're doing, and so you can actually go to thegoodcontractorslist.com, and there's a refer a contractor and there's become a contractor in our navigation. So either way, building a community, like I said, a safe community of contractors out in your area is what's going to help protect all the homeowners in your area. And so the more people that get involved in the collective, and the more people that can help us find the best people, the faster we can take care of your neighborhood, your city, and really a whole region very quickly. So, but and I do have to say one more thing. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God. This has been a miracle from day one. When I started this company, I had no money, I had no background, I had just had a heart attack, and God, I felt led to do this because so I went out just doing what I felt God wanted me to do. Didn't have a website. I was sitting down in front of contractors with a yellow legal pad. And so if anybody meets me and sees where I came from, this is not because I was smart. This was not because I had a lot of clout. This was because God had a plan for this. And I think that this platform is it's amazing to be able to protect homeowners and to give contractors a safe place to be a part of something. But to me, there's a much bigger mission in this for me, and that is to bring glory to the one who created it. And so I'm thankful that you allowed me to say that, because truly that's where it came from.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Well, that's terrific. Before I call it a day, folks, I always love to end every episode the way I need to, which is a shout out and a thank you to my sponsors at Roofer. Hopefully, maybe one day Roofer can be part of the Good Contractors List. Wink, wink. That's a quality company. They've been my sponsors for over 3 years. I've been associated with them for almost 7 now. Great group. We take our contractors and we put them into a CRM system that literally takes you from the initial contact with your homeowner all the way through the final payment, everything in between. And then it even follows up with my customers for years on end, reminding them that they need to call us for maintenance and other things like that. So thank you to Roofer. Thank you to everybody that watches Keeping It Real. We're 232 episodes deep. Couldn't do it without you guys. It's been a great 4.5 years. My goal is 2,500 episodes, and we're creeping one closer every week. So thank you to everyone that shows support, that reaches out to me and tells me they watch this. We try to bring as much value as we can to people all over the world. So John, Randy, I appreciate you guys being here today. Thank you. Thank you for letting Rio Blanco be a part of the Good Contractors List. We're going to represent you with tremendous amount of pride and integrity. And until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have my screen in the background because this is the triple pain, but keep on keeping it Rio, the corniest tagline in the history of the world. And you guys are more than welcome to come back anytime you'd like to discuss anything about the program. I'm going to reach back out somewhere down the road when we take over all 50 states and are the, go-to resource for homeowners. So thank you guys. If you would stick around for just a second after I end this. And thank you guys. We'll see you next Thursday. And thanks for being here. We love you guys. Bye.
We're Roofer. We know that managing a roofing business can be chaotic, so we created a single platform with all the tools you need to easily run your roofing business. Stop switching between multiple different softwares and experience streamlined operations from lead to payment in hours instead of days. Visit roofr.com to get started.